Hey everybody, we're back with another episode of Skypanic. We're back in our Power Labs hut here, as you can see. Now, since our last episode, we've had some things happen. Unfortunately, the Malice Doors mod started causing some serious problems and had to be removed from the pack, so we're back to normal doors. Um, they turned out okay. Just the regular dark oak door. So, um, not too disappointed with that. The ones in here aren't as cool as they were before, but we put iron doors in and used the pressure plates to open those. It works. Not as cool as the sliding doors, but what can you do? I'd rather play it than have a busted world. So today we're going to head down to where our reactor's gonna be. It's actually started a bit. I laid it out just to kind of get an idea of what a 32 by 32 reactor looks like, and it's a little insane. This isn't quite 32 by 32. I've got to do a little bit more work to clear this bit here, and then mapped out the height here. So it's pretty ridiculous. We got a couple blocks here I got to get rid of from when we first did it. So yeah, we've got it up off the ground a bit. I'm going to dig out under a bit and kind of make it sit on pedestals just so we have access to the bottom if we ever need it for any reason. I also cleared out a bit of work here. We're going to put our kind of not factory, our laboratory design in here. And we're going to start some of the work on the infrastructure that we'll need to support this insanely huge reactor. One of the biggest problems is going to be gelled cryothium for the cooling. So we're going to set up a little lab room down here that's going to be dedicated to creating gelled cryothium. So yeah, gonna do a bit of work. I'm gonna set up kind of the laboratory field down here, and then do a side room off probably in this general area to start work on some of the materials we need to gather, or some of the automation of the materials we need to gather to create a really huge amount of cryothium. So back in a bit. Okay, everybody, we're back and we've done some work. As you can see, we have a wall, cleared out some space, or finished clearing out the space, and then put in the wall and the entranceway into the what's going to be the cold research lab area, or the cryogenics research. I don't know what you want to call it. Something to do with cold. This is where they do it. Still got to do some work on the outside here. I want to figure out what to do with kind of this area in general. It's going to need a roof too to go on top of this. But the inside's done, and we've got this cool door here. We're doing this with, we're using funky locomotion. So funky locomotion has frames on either side of the door, and that pulls it open. We've got a player detector that's sending the redstone pulse when we get close to it, and that opens the door. And if we go check out over here, we can see what we got going on here. Forgot to light this up. Okay, so there's our entity detector detecting players. Sends a pulse on the red channel, which tells this RS latch to alternate. That then goes into a pulse former, so that just basically turns the constant output of the RS latch into a pulse, which will cause the frame sliders. You can just see one poking out there. And then on the top way up there, I don't know if you can see it, is the one that sends it back. So this is the brown channel, and then there's the green channel up there. There's a matching set on this side. Right there, you see. So basically when we get close, it'll pulse, open the doors. It'll continue to be open because this is going to be sending a signal, so the RS latch is going to stay in this configuration. Now, as soon as it switches to the open phase, it starts sending out, or it unlocks this clock, which will eventually cause it to pulse and switch the latch back to its default state. So that's how we take care of the automatic closing of the door. Close it back in. So there we go, door opens. So right now the latch is being locked open because the entity player or entity detector is constantly sending that signal. As soon as we go back, the clock is able to switch the latch back to the other way, and that triggers the other pulse on the other side of the latch to close the door. It turns out pretty good. I would have preferred a 3x3, but it's just very difficult to get a working 3x3 door reliably with the different mods, and then even to do basic redstone door, it's not worth the effort, I don't think. So I'm happy with this. Anyway, back inside here, we've got our room. We did a nice grid layout with the inverted white lamps from Project Redstone. And we've got some areas marked out. So right here, we're going to have our giant cryothium tanks. We're going to have one here. We're going to have a second one here. Now, the tanks are going to be mostly decoration. We'll get to those in a second. Because the quantum tank right here is going to be what holds all the gelled cryothium. Then over here, we're going to have, this is going to be one of our magma crucibles, which is going to be what melts down the cryothium into the gelled cryothium. Is that what it's called? Yeah, gelid cryothium. Cryothium dust gets melted down into the gelled. Right here is going to store our different components. So we're going to have snowballs, cryothium dust, and blizz powder. We should probably also have something for redstone and niter, but we're actually going to put that in a different room. And then to make our snow, because it's kind of do with cold stuff, we're going to have our snow chickens here. And in here, we're going to have a special friend, because the chickens do a good job of producing snow, but we're going to try something to see if it's a little bit quicker, or just even, it's probably going to be quicker to use this other method, but it looks cooler too. So we'll be back in a bit when we put all this stuff in. Okay, we are back, everybody, and we've finished our Cryo-lab. Let's take a look. Here we go. So, our friend here, he's turns out to be a much better source of snow than our snow chickens. We kept a couple of them because they're add to the look. But our friend here is a snowman. He's got the dinner bone tag, so that's why he's upside down. And he will constantly produce snow under him. Now, the block underneath him is an automated user, which is hooked up to a redstone signal and controlled by this button. So if I turn it on, it will start using the shovel in its inventory to break the snowballs. And those will get sucked in by a vacuum hopper. And end up in our storage over here. I think that's pretty cool looking. And then our redstone chickens are producing obviously redstone. There's a trash can buried back here, which gets rid of the feathers, the manure, and the eggs that they produce. And the redstone is fed into this compacting drawer. The, I forget what it's called, destabilized redstone? Yeah, the destabilized redstone is in here in fluid form, just surrounded by its chisel and bits, white stained glass, to give it kind of a tank look, because this mod pack doesn't really have a nice tank that I like. Did the same thing over here with the gel cryo-lithium. This is just for looks. This is not actually doing anything. The quantum tank down here is what holds the actual fluid. And then just for fun, or some, not really fun, but so we can use it a little more efficiently without having to bucket everything out. Right here you can see there's two fluid pipes, and they're set up to automatically, when something's placed on it, push. In this case, see the arrow, it's leaving the tank, filling the drum. And then this one, if you put it down here, just had to pull, and that will empty the tank and put it back into the quantum storage. So that'll come in handy. And the drum's empty. Over here we have our Magnum Crucial, which is melting the redstone and feeding it directly into the fluid transposer, which is receiving snowballs from our storage here. Those snowballs, if I turn it on, it will make the blizz powder. Again, it's turned off right now, but you just hit the dust, and you'll see this guy spins up into action. Let's turn that off. And this guy right here is getting the cryo-lithium dust pumped into it, and if I turn it on, you'll see it'll spin up, and it'll create the cryo-lithium dust and then pipe it into our quantum tank over here. Everything's nicely hidden in the ground, the conduits and stuff. And then if we need to get access to the basement, I've added a second funky locomotion door over here. If we push it, our door will open, and we can get into the hallway here and get at the pipes. Out to my painting machine, I just threw it there for now. So we can get into the pipe. Oops. There we go. Fix that up. And then down here, again, this is our control circuitry for the big door. These receivers are connected to the buttons, and they send the redstone pulses to control the various machines on over here, and in this case our automated or mechanical user down here. Let's take that out. Oh, okay. I was wondering why the absorption hopper wasn't grabbing the snowballs. That's because it's full of niter, because there was a niter explosion earlier. I broke a chest and forgot about this guy, so he sucked up a bunch of those. This must not be directly connected, or else it should have put the niter away also. Okay, so we'll, I'm just going to pop this block so we can, or we'll pop that block so we can get up there and empty that out after. And then this mess of circuitry, which I need to probably sit down and actually map out the control of all this disaster, this redstone disaster. But basically it's controlling our little trap tower, all that just for that 2 blocks that go up and down. It controls that, and it controls these 2 sliders. They send the funky locomotion bricks up and down, and basically it's just connected. This is just a copy of the input up top, but you hit the button and it activates the pulsing timer here, which as you can see, those went up. And then this bunch of circuitry over here just basically has this counter which stops the timer, because I didn't want the redstone constantly pulsing for just this door. So if we hit it again, it'll pulse twice, which is enough to send the doors down. And then this counter says, oh, you pulsed twice, let's stop. This bit of circuitry basically sees the input from the button and resets the counter so it can pulse twice again. This stuff over here, this is our AND gate, which is taking basically our pulse being formed from this timer. I guess this is a bit redundant, this pulse former attached to this timer. It's doing the exact same thing, but again, once I have time, I might draw this out and actually clean up this circuitry a bit, because it's a bit of a disaster. But yeah, these AND gates basically take the pulse and connect it to these the output from this toggle latch, which is either toggled to up or down. I apologize if that's really confusing. Kind of hurt my brain figuring this out in the first place, hence the disaster. So let's head out, and we close our door. The textures kind of look goofy until the blocks get up in place, and then it reconnects everything. It's kind of hidden. And that, my friends, is our Cryo-lab. We've got a little ME in here also, which is constantly crafting up the dust. I believe it's actually hit capacity, so it's stopped crafting the dust. But if this ever dips below what I set the emitter to, it will stop crafting the dust. Okay, so let's clean this up. And there we go. So if I throw these, if we activate our snowball maker again, there we go. Now it's picking up the snowballs. Perfect. Our friend here is less than happy to have the snow being shaken from him, but he'll get over it. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. We finished our Cryo-lab. Hopefully next time we got to figure out some place to generate our niter. And we also have to figure out a fuel area, because we need to make a lot of yellowite if we're going to make our giant reactor. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like. If you really enjoyed, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.